crime scenes. Not a single usable print. You can't think of this case in normal police terms.
He's breaking the pattern.
Glenna said you were a cartoonist.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing at a gun range?
I just want to help.
What are you, some kind of Boy Scout?
Eagle Scout, actually. First class. Paul, I've been thinking.
Oh, God save us all.
There's no evidence, Robert. What do you mean there's no evidence? You have him seen with the ciphers, the military blueprints, the bloody knife. All circumstantial.
Why do you need to do this?
Because nobody else will.
Dave, you made a mistake!
Get away from the window.
David Fincher's 2007 movie, Zodiac, is an interesting take on the true crime movie genre. Instead of focusing on the murderer, the film's true focus is Robert Graysmith, a cartoonist who becomes enthralled by the case, leading him down a path of paranoia and obsession. In this video, I will analyze a critical scene that takes place near the end of the film. This scene perfectly captures Robert's paranoia caused by the investigation. The scene begins outside of Bob Vaughn's house to capture the weather. The storm sets the ominous tone and atmosphere for the scene. Director David Fincher uses foreshadowing a lot in this film. The mirror and the locked door play a key role at the end of this scene.
Thank you. It's very rustic. Can I take your jacket?
By asking Graysmith if he wants to take his jacket, Bob Vaughn is introduced as a friendly character.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
How about some tea?
Oh, no.
When Graysmith sits, he gives Vaughn dominance over the situation.
About a film that the Avenue may have played while you were the organist there. The Most Dangerous Game.
It's a classic. RKO.
The Most Dangerous Game is referenced multiple times in this film, possibly to lead up to this moment. We know Fincher loves to use foreshadowing.
I'd have to check my records. Why?
Do you remember the Zodiac?
As soon as Graysmith mentions the Zodiac, Vaughn turns, hiding half of his face. This could symbolize he has something to hide.
This is about Rick Marshall, isn't it?
He was a projectionist there, right?
For a time, yes. But I have no occasion to correspond with him these days.
Okay.
Medium shots dominate this part of the scene because it is the least dramatic of frames.
The symbol.
This will change as the dialogue continues.
Hold on. The Zodiac symbol on film. It's on the countdown. It's trimmed above feet trail before it's shown, but it always arrives with it. Right there. The first time I saw it in the papers, I thought about that.
We got a tip that Rick left a film canister here that he told you never to open.
Tip about a mysterious film canister.
Is it true?
Yes.
Vaughn's character is posed as someone with information that'll help identify the Zodiac. This establishes credibility to Graysmith.
This tip is how you got it in your head that Rick is the Zodiac.
That and the poster.
The poster.
The poster that Rick drew. The handwriting is the closest that we have ever come to a match.
Rick didn't draw any posters.
No, he drew this one.
Mr. Graysmith, I do the posters myself. It's my handwriting.
This revelation suddenly changes the tone of the scene. Graysmith becomes unsettled by the fact that Vaughn wrote the poster, not Marshall. The camera focuses on Graysmith longer than usual to convey the shock.
I won't take any more of your time.
The viewer can infer that Graysmith is overcome with fear and therefore does not remember key information about the writing. This information is not solid evidence that proves Vaughn is the Zodiac. Sherwood is also not.
Mr. Graysmith, most of the writing matches the exemplar. In a way, though, it's the part that doesn't match that scares me the most.
What do you mean?
Well, on the poster, the one letter that absolutely, positively does not match is the letter K.
The audience is given this information because Graysmith's mind is too clouded to retain it, whereas the viewer will hopefully remember it.
Look, we've been running handwriting samples.
Who's we?
Sherwood and I.
Sherwood. Sherwood who was fired from question documents? Sherwood who drinks like Paul Avery now?
He retired.
Is that what he
I
told you?
won't take any more of your time.
Why don't I just go and find out when we play that film?
But that's all right.
It's not a problem. They're just down in the basement.
The framing of this shot puts Graysmith at the center of danger. His head is turned away from Vaughn, and he is sitting where Vaughn is standing. The camera is close up on Graysmith because the Zodiac has a basement. This adds to his fear that Vaughn is the Zodiac.
Not many people have basements in California.
I do.
Once again, the scene recalls information given earlier in the film. The viewer and Graysmith recall information together, as if the viewer is investigating alongside Graysmith.
Hello?
Bill. There's not many basements in California.
Basement for future use.
That's right.
Coming, Mr. Graysmith? The original Studio One sheets I always kept for myself.
Note the phone. It was not in the frame when Vaughn walks down, but visible next to Graysmith. This can implicate it's the phone the Zodiac uses to call Graysmith.
Cheapo knockoffs like you brought today, I end up tossing into the back alley.
The lighting helps create a creepy atmosphere. The viewer is not meant to rely on characters' facial reactions, but solely on how the environments affect the scene.
You live alone?
Most Dangerous Game ran in May '69, so that would be about 9 weeks before the first Zodiac letter, correct?
Yeah.
Vaughn is purposefully in the dark. The viewer and Graysmith do not know what Vaughn's doing with his hands.
And was inspired.
Are you sure there's nobody else in the house?
Graysmith hears footsteps again, but are they really there? Graysmith's sense of fear is heightened because Vaughn seems to pose a threat. Once again, Graysmith is paranoid.
Would you like to go upstairs and check?
No. Thank you.
The camera mimics Graysmith's slow movement once again as he walks away because the audience is meant to stay with Graysmith. The tea kettle goes off, a common trope in horror films. This is used to build up tension. Although this film is not a horror film, this is Fincher's nod to the genre. Vaughn is seen in the mirror because objects in a mirror are closer than they appear, and the audience is wondering what the character will do once he comes into the frame.
It's locked.
Instead of a weapon, he pulls out a key, and it is revealed he will let him go.
Thank you.
Night, Mr. Graysmith.
It is important to note that this scene between Graysmith and Vaughn is from Graysmith's perspective. His investigation into the Zodiac case has created paranoia through an obsession. If this scene were from a different perspective, it might not have seemed so creepy. Although the title of the film is Zodiac, the true focus is Graysmith and his journey.